Just as a point of information, my ministry is not the Ministry of Communications. It's the Ministry of Communication, no S. Communication, Digital Technology and Innovation. Then you have Felix as Minister for Government Communications with an S. So nomenclature is important because there was an EI that set it up. But I hope everybody's... Hey, Prof, good morning. How are you? They say I should ban DSTV and empower you. Anyway, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, at no point in our history has the question of broadcasting and its future been more urgent than it is today. Broadcasting is not only a channel for information and entertainment, it is a pillar of national cohesion, a driver of innovation, and a safeguard of democratic participation. This forum, therefore, addresses the choices we must make as a nation to secure a resilient and forward-looking media landscape. I commend the Africa Media Bureau for collaborating with our ministry and other partners for convening this dialogue at such a critical juncture. By bringing together policymakers, regulators, broadcasters, and industry actors, this platform enables us to ask hard questions, assess our progress, and chart a path that balances policy, technology, and global best practices with Ghana's unique aspirations. And I intend to ask some very hard questions today. Now, what's the current state of Ghana's media sector? The role of broadcasting in Ghana's democratic life, social cohesion, and economic development cannot be overstated. It remains a primary medium for news, education, cultural expression, and national conversation. Ghana's media is rightly celebrated as one of the most vibrant in Africa, with over 700 FM stations, more than 100 television channels, and a rapidly expanding digital ecosystem. However, this vibrancy is in numbers. The question of media quality must, however, be considered very seriously. Despite the numbers, challenges persist. Some FM and TV stations remain non-operational years after authorization has been granted. Others face compliance issues relating to licensing, content standards, and spectrum use. These undermine both service delivery and public confidence. Added to these are technological disruptions, shifting consumer behaviors, and economic pressures that demand deliberate and responsible policy evolution. Financial sustainability in particular is a pressing concern for me, for sector players. Many broadcasters are struggling with high operational costs, growing competition from digital platforms, and fragmented advertising revenues. These realities necessitate innovative business models and partnerships that strike a balance between viability and quality. Now let's come to policy and regulatory interventions. This forum coincides with heightened public concerns about the affordability, quality, and fairness of broadcasting services. A new paradigm is required to propel the industry forward. The Ministry of Communication, Digital Technology and Innovation is reviewing Ghana's broadcasting policy framework to reflect the realities of digital convergence, where radio, television, and internet-based broadcasting increasingly overlap within a single ecosystem. In light of this, my ministry will collaborate with the Ministry of Government Communications and other key stakeholders to take a dispassionate look at the current broadcasting bill with a view to making it reflective of the nuanced realities of today's world. The government, working with the NCA, is taking steps to ensure compliance with the conditions of broadcasting authorizations that have been issued. Recent audits of FM and TV authorizations, together with spectrum monitoring exercises, are to ensure that only compliant and operational stations remain on air. This protects spectrum integrity, strengthens the credibility of our authorization regime, and ensures quality of broadcast. I urge all broadcasting authorization holders to do what is right. Apply for your renewal on time, which means 90 days before the expiration of your 5-year license. Pay your fees, your yearly fees. Comply with the technical regulations of the NCA. As your presenters on your stations hold government to accountability, please ensure that you also are accountable with the authorizations that the regulator has given to you. Else, when you are shut down, it is not Sam George, it is you. Neither is it Engineer Fianco. Now to the sustainability of the digital terrestrial television ecosystem, the DTT ecosystem. The government of Ghana established the National DTT Transmission Network in 2016 under the leadership of the then minister, my big brother, Honorable Edward Kofi Omani Boama. May his soul rest in peace. The strategy then was for the government to support the industry with the investment in the network and to gradually cover the operational cost through payments by TV stations as follows. It was supposed to be zero fees in the first year, 50% of the price in the second year, 75% of the cost in the third year, and then full cost recovery thereafter. Following the change of government in 2017, the policy direction was not implemented until much later, when my predecessor, the Honorable Esla Owusu Ekufo, attempted to introduce fees for DTT operations and maintenance. However, the Industry Association, GIBA, went to court, and there has still not been an implementation of the cost recovery arrangements. The over 45 stations on the platform have not paid any fees for the 10 years the platform has run for the operation and maintenance of the transmission network. The government of Ghana has borne the cost over this period, thereby subsidizing private enterprise. This is not sustainable and must come to an end. I thought you would clap. We have to come to the table as partners to establish a straightforward arrangement for the financial sustainability of our national DTT platform. The government is working to expand the platform due to the high demand for slots. We're working on Max 3. Whilst we do this, we must commence discussions immediately, and I'm grateful to the Africa Media Bureau for this platform, on how the stations using the platform can contribute to the operations and maintenance of the platform. I'll be convening a meeting of stakeholders on this matter in due course. The free ride, the bus that gives us the free ride, has run out of gas. We need to find an environmentally friendly and sustainable means of fueling the DTT bus. Now to technology and global best practices. Ladies and gentlemen, globally, broadcasting is undergoing a rapid transformation. Artificial intelligence, automation, 5G, hybrid content delivery platforms are transforming the way content is created, distributed, and consumed. For Ghana, these developments present both challenges and opportunities. To remain competitive, broadcasters must embrace digital transformation, adopt new technologies, and invest in skill development to stay ahead of the curve. Partnerships with telecom operators, technology providers, and international organizations will be critical in this regard. Equally, our regulatory frameworks must benchmark against the best global practices, ensuring interoperability, safeguarding consumers, and fostering innovation while protecting Ghana's national interest. While the ministry is supportive of the use of new media to augment traditional media in the dissemination of information and the provision of educational and entertainment content, new media must subject itself to the same rigors of conventional media. It is wholly unacceptable and indeed undemocratic for us to have different standards for new media broadcast and traditional media broadcast. Once you broadcast, the ethics and standards of the craft must govern your operations. I'm not here to speak of censorship. I speak of regulation. The media, be it traditional or new, cannot be said to be above regulation. It cannot be the Wild West, where incredulous allegations are made, reputations are damaged, and images are soiled irreparably, simply for clickbait. I cannot and will not, as the Minister for the sector, seek to regulate what media outlets publish. Absolutely not. I'll never do that. That is your democratically protected editorial discretion. However, in the same vein, my democratically elected mandate is to regulate through my regulators how your editorial discretion is broadcast. So what you say is yours, but how you say it is regulated by us. And so we must draw that fine distinction, especially with new media. As the founder of our beloved nation, Osajifo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah put in his book, Neo-Colonialism, The Last Stage of Imperialism, I quote, "If by their fruits we shall know them, then they must first grow the fruit." So if you want us to know you as responsible journalists, you must first sow the fruits of responsible journalism in your broadcast. We must work together within the remits of our mandates to ensure the protection and longevity of this democracy that we enjoy. You must be responsible in your broadcast, and I must exercise caution in overseeing my regulatory responsibilities and issuing policy directives. We must all agree. It looks like they're not happy with the things I'm saying, so my tablet doesn't want to move again. But they lie. We must all agree that charlatans parading as men of God, men capital M, God small g, instead of men of God, small m, capital G, and running all kinds of frivolous schemes in the name of God, need to be driven out of our airwaves like the temple with a regulatory whip. Money doubling and get-rich-quick schemes being broadcast by unscrupulous fetish priests have no place in our public broadcast. Pornographic and sexually explicit content masquerading as adult relationship shows cannot be allowed to continue soiling the innocence of our national airwaves. There must be sanity, and we must work together to achieve the same. We cannot put today's profit ahead of tomorrow's sanity. Let's agree as stakeholders to develop a roadmap together to clean up our airwaves. Now, what's the way forward? The future of broadcasting in Ghana must be inclusive. And before I go way forward, regulator, that was a policy direction to you on the men of God and fetish priests and adult content. The future of broadcasting in Ghana must be inclusive, it must be sustainable and forward-looking. To this end, we have identified 5 priorities that deserve our collective attention. 1, compliance with authorization conditions. Authorizations must be used for their intended purposes. Non-operational or persistently non-compliant stations weaken the ecosystem and compromise our spectrum efficiency. The regulator will withdraw such authorizations. 2, digital convergence and hybrid diverse delivery. As the lines between terrestrial, satellite, and internet-based broadcasting becomes increasingly blurred, regulatory frameworks must evolve to support hybrid business models while safeguarding competition and consumer choices. 3, capacity and content development. Investment in local content, professional standards, fact-checking, and media literacy is essential for maintaining credibility in a crowded information environment. 4, technology adoption. To improve efficiency and competitiveness in the digital environment, broadcasters must adopt emerging technologies to enhance content creation, production, and distribution. I dare say that GTV's online manager seems to be doing a lot more than their newsroom. It drives a lot more traffic than their newsroom. That's an adoption of emerging technology. I'm not throwing shade, Prof. It's fact. 5, regional cooperation and benchmarking. By learning from regional and global best practices, Ghana can strengthen its institutions and remain competitive in the continental and global media market space. In conclusion, Makasa Bebre. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the future of Ghana's broadcasting sector must be anchored in fairness, innovation, and resilience. It is our collective responsibility to ensure a media environment that protects consumers, nurtures talent, supports investment, and upholds the public interest. We must agree that for our media landscape to remain profitable and viable, deep reforms and consolidations are necessary. This must be embarked on as a collective effort between practitioners and the regulator. We must restore the glory of what it meant to be a broadcast journalist. We must strive to make the profession appealing to the best talent. We stand at a crossroads, and the decisions we make today will determine the future of the sector, either its survival or complete demise. We must be guided by this ethos that there can be no higher law in journalism than to tell the truth and shame the devil, even if the devil is a politician. I urge all participants to translate the insights from today's deliberation into concrete implementable actions that will shape a broadcasting sector that is inclusive, competitive, and ready for the digital age. Mochumika Akpenami Midamwase Mungode. Thank you. Here I didn't say Obake.